Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Mike from CICHLIDS. Having 14 aquariums made up of mostly large and aggressive cichlids requires some real forward planning. Planning for growth, aggression, and sickness are just a few of the many reasons that I have a whole portion of my fish room dedicated to quarantining fish. Over the past year, I've dealt with it all. Most recently, I've had some real aggression in both my 125 and 210 P and Hap aquariums and in my 75-gallon red terror aquarium in the basement. In today's video, I'll show you the steps that I've taken to mitigate that aggression by taking advantage of the tank space that I have available and moving fish around the fish room. I hope that you enjoy today's video. You might ask, what prompted all this? And the answer is simple: aggression. It's funny, in our last video, one of the last comments we got was that 75 gallons was too small for a red terror. Although I don't agree, believing that 75 gallons is plenty for one adult red terror, it's definitely not big enough for two. But I've been fortunate over the last year and a half, housing these two, one male and one female red terror in 75 gallons, dealing with very minimal and manageable aggression. But last week, the switch flipped in my female and it was all out war. This flip in aggression left me with very little reaction time, but fortunately, I've planned for events like this, having set up these two 60-gallon talls and one 40-gallon tall that I refer to as Quarantine Corner. I've been in this position before with my Xingu pike, who is still in one of the 60 gallons as I wait until I can put him with something larger. In the other 60 gallon, I currently have 10 red tiger moto babies growing out, and in the 40-gallon tall, I have a mini dovi. My immediate reaction was to just get the male out of the tank, so I pulled him, and knowing from my Xingu pike's history, felt like I could place the male in its tank until I came up with a long-term solution. I watched him on and off for about an hour and noticed a distinct change in the Xingu pike. It went from a beautiful golden yellow to this dark gray on both its head and tail. It was clearly stressed, so I had to come up with a new plan. So I looked to the 40-gallon tall. This mini dovi is now in the 3 to 4 inch range, and my initial thought was that I could add it to the 125-gallon Central American tank in the basement. Of all the moves made, this was definitely one of my favorites. Over the past 6 or 7 months, this fish would hide for about 23.5 hours of the day. By moving it to its 125, not only do I get to see it, but it's assimilated seamlessly into the tank. Then, I added the male red terror to this 40-gallon, which is plenty of space for a very temporary arrangement. With all of the fish now safe, I started to think about the long term and how I could best utilize the aquariums at my disposal. In one of our recent videos, Will brought over 9 peacocks and haps after he decided to break down his 150-gallon aquarium. I decided to add to those 9 with a fish that I just couldn't pass up while shopping at London Tropicals. This OB blue dolphin was a must-have for me, and it brought me to the number of P's and haps that I was comfortable with plans of finishing the setup with plenty of colorful Mbuna. But it's been over a month now, and as tight as both my and Will's schedules have been, just haven't gotten around to adding any fish. With only 10 African cichlids in 125 gallons, this was a problem. Although I didn't suffer any loss to death, the OB blue dolphin that I just had to have was unrelenting when it came to its tank mates. Around the same time, the tank boss, this sunset hap, lost the battle as top dog to the Fusco in the tank, and by loss, I mean dead. As the new king of the hill, and I wish I had some B-roll, the Fusco dominated half of the tank, not allowing anything to cross past the center. I've loved the stocking of this aquarium for the last 2 years. It's never been overstocked, only housing about 21 cichlids. But I've loved the color and activity the entire time. But one of the best ways to mitigate aggression with African cichlids is to add or overstock an aquarium. Having similar issues in both of these aquariums, I decided that I'd add 10 cichlids from the military room to the 210-gallon in the basement, freeing up 125 gallons in the process. Then, I'd remove all the substrate and decor, rescape the aquarium, providing a new home for my red terror cichlids. Now let me take you into my home and show you the entire process from start to finish. Alright guys, so I've had a little bit of aggression issues in this 125-gallon peacock and hap aquarium. The plan originally was to take what peacocks Will brought over with the 9 that he brought over here, add some Mbuna to this aquarium and potentially get a mixed peacock and hap and Mbuna aquarium, keeping it on the smaller side. But with some of the aggression issues that I've had both in this tank and my 210-gallon aquarium downstairs, the sunset hap that was the tank boss recently got killed by the Fusco down there, and because the hierarchy has kind of changed, had a little bit more aggression. That tank is very understocked for a 210-gallon aquarium with only housing 21 African cichlids in it. So I'm gonna get these guys taken out. I'm gonna drain the tank, get these guys taken out, take them downstairs, add them to that 210-gallon. Then I'm gonna rescape this aquarium, get it set up with some new substrate, some new decor, get the 75-gallon with the female red terror in it, get her put up here, take the male that I've got currently quarantining down in the 40-gallon tall, add him to this aquarium, and hopefully by adding a little bit more space, giving them a little bit more space, line of sight breaks and stuff like that, the hope is that I can get them to breed. So we're gonna go ahead, start to drain this tank, get that broken down, get these fish out of there, get them added to the 210, then we'll get this thing rescaped, get the new fish in there. Let's see how it works out. All right, so I've got my CICHLIDS Ultra Zero pump that I'm gonna use to pump this aquarium with a Python hose. We're just gonna run it out the front door, drain this aquarium down, get the net, catch all these fish. In the meantime, I'm gonna walk downstairs. I'm gonna drain the aquarium straight from the 210 into a bucket. That way when I add the fish into the bucket, when it comes to adding them into the aquarium, I can just pour the water right back in. So now I've got the Ultra Zero getting ready to pump the water out of the hose, but before I can do that, I'm gonna shut down both my FX4 and my CChem 110-gallon hang on back. I'm gonna shut them down completely while I drain the aquarium, get everything emptied out, and that way when I'm ready to fire it back up, the siphon hasn't been broken and it'll come right back on. Now we're just gonna sit back, wait for the aquarium to drain. I'll head downstairs, drain some of that into a 5-gallon bucket so I can get these guys moved right on over into that tank. Go add these jokers in. Alright guys, so like I said, I took the water directly from the 210 gallons. I'm gonna turn the lights off on the aquarium. Also gonna turn the lights off down in the entire fish room. I'm gonna add these guys in, add some stability so that the bio load, I can maintain the bio load, and we're just gonna add these guys right in. Uh-oh. And here's some stability just to get it in there, since I added about 10 fish. All right, so now that I've got the tank drained, all I've got left is the substrate. I've got my dustpan and my wet vac, and we're going to go ahead and get this thing emptied out and then get the substrate re-added to that. As you can tell, we're losing light. The military room doesn't have much light in it, but we are done with the scape. Get ready to add some prime, add some water, get this thing filled back up, get the filters turned back on, and then soon we'll just be adding the fish. Here she is, and she's going right in. And she's absolutely loving her new home. I'm gonna give it a few weeks before I attempt to add the male to this aquarium, but hope that maybe now with ample space, I'll get some breeding. The 210 gallon peacock and hab tank is stunning and full of activity, but I did have to remove the Fusco. He's in this 75 gallon for now, until I can find him a better home. And last is my mini Dovi, who I hope, now having more water volume, will grow at a faster rate. If you've made it this far into the video, we most definitely appreciate you. Please don't forget to hit that like and subscribe, and until next time, be safe.